Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here,
And I'm Tiki.
and the inmates have taken over the asylum tonight in tonight's episode of More Pooh Talk.
Gotta love more Pooh talk. It just gets
Love it.
even
It's great.
poohier the longer we do it.
It's great. How are you tonight, Goofy?
I'm doing good. It's been a really long week, but it's over now, so I can enjoy the weekend.
Yes.
How about you?
I am fantastic. And we have Beowulf here. How are you doing, Beowulf?
Hi, Beowulf.
Yeah, so what did you think about this week's project?
I felt like this was the week that we've been waiting for. With like honestly, like we've been talking a lot about how hi Dash. We've been talking a lot about how people have how the players have a little bit had issues with teamwork and stuff, and it was like this week it was like everything came together really, really well, and I was really impressed by it.
So this kind of stuff honestly is this is what I mean when I say why I love entertainment projects, because one, it's a different sort of mindset, and two, you really have to be working together as a super cohesive unit to pull it off. And these guys just did it so wonderfully.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they made two incredible shows that are really, really impressive.
And they're
For the time
different. They
frame
are
they had.
so different.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy to me that they were able to do stuff so different, but they were still able to coordinate. Like we have certain IPs, and I know that the other show, not Age of Magic, but the Center Core show, it was a little bit less IP centric. So that was something that I was really excited to see. Honestly, I was just so blown away by, and I know they split up into smaller groups.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like it was the full group working together, but Ace did a great job tying everybody together and getting to see the individual messages about the Castle show and about the Center Core show. It was really cool seeing people step up in a smaller group setting.
Yeah, and I think that that might be a huge reason of why this project shined so well. Because admittedly, you end up with too many cooks in the kitchen when you have these big groups.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, whenever you have a bunch of these heavy hitters in these Imagineering competitions all in the same group, it definitely leads to that feeling of too many cooks in the kitchen. So I think that separating was really beneficial for most of the players, getting to see, oh, this is what somebody who, doesn't always speak up the loudest has to contribute.
It lets us put a spotlight on some of the quieter players.
Yeah, absolutely. It's sort of, I mean, it has that feeling of, like the last couple of rounds of So You Want to Be an Imagineer, whenever the team was getting smaller and you had a lot of really high quality players going all out. That's what it felt like this week. And I was really impressed because, Jokers and I both told you at the start of the week, we don't like entertainment prompts. They're really difficult to do. And for this to be, in my opinion, the best week of this season, it says a lot about the way that this group of people is playing.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. Like, I don't think I can say enough, like, how good this project was.
Yeah, I agree. I was reading through it because I kind of track brainstorming, but I really like to come into stuff really fresh, not seeing a ton about the development of the idea. I just want to see the idea.
Yeah.
And to come into it, and I didn't really have the highest expectations because it's an entertainment prompt, and to come in seeing the two different ideas and how great they both are, because they're great ideas by themselves, and then
Yeah.
how well they were executed, I was so blown away by it.
Yeah. And like, so, and I think that that segues us perfectly into this first one, Age of Magic, which, it's something of a, kind of a phantasmic esque in that, it's in that ring of phantasmic, huge, spectacular outdoor nighttime show with awesome effects and all that.
Yeah, I thought it was a really cool idea to do
Yep.
a show centered on a non-Disney character, like a regular kid. I thought
Yeah.
that was a great idea.
Oh yeah.
It's honestly, the message of this show is like so timeless, and it really, it kind of hit me, because I'm in this period of transition where I just started college, and it's like, bro, that hits like for real.
Yeah. I as someone who is about to graduate from college, I have to agree. Like, this is this
It's powerful.
hits. It
Like
is. It
that's like the only word in my mind whenever I
I
read it
think
was how powerful this is.
yeah. I it kind of hits that same emotional core that Happily Ever After does.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and let's just admire that Doug called this a bad piece
I
of art.
thought that was hilarious. Like, I'm sorry, what is bad about
Like,
this?
okay, Doug, show me a good piece of art, because this is
That was the first thing I said in my review was I love that even whenever Doug says that he did a bad piece of art, it's still ridiculously better than anything else I've seen.
yeah, and I like the addition to the castle of, putting in the Shanghai-esque stadium seating and all that.
Yeah, I agree. I my Having never been to Shanghai, and I haven't done tons of research into it. My only question would be, how does it like still fit the park well? I know that Shanghai's big, but
Yeah.
like how does it
I,
fit the park? But I will say that if you're comparing this to Disneyland, Fantasmic with no seating, I would definitely prefer this.
yeah, I think that, this is kind of the best of both worlds between Disneyland and Disney World's Fantasmic.
Yeah, because it's not like a full blown arena type.
Yeah, it's a more relaxing environment where during the day it's sort of like World of Color.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm completely okay with it. I think that it's the way the where it is and everything. It
Yeah.
makes it so that you can watch it like in
And
Harbor Town,
yeah,
but
and I
you don't
like
have to be in
that.
the scene.
I like that, at least in the concept art. The stage is a bit more toward the side, like it is in Paris. It doesn't like take up the entire front of the castle.
Right, yeah, you don't want the obstructed views of the castle or a little whenever, because you think about it, and we'll probably talk a little bit more about effects and stuff in a little bit, but whenever I was thinking about how some of these effects might work, I was like, well, you're going to need a little bit of it's for some of this stuff, like for Peter Pan to fly and stuff like that. I'm not sure exactly how close they're supposed to be to the castle for Peter Pan to be flying, or if it's
Yeah.
like you build up something that Peter Pan's harnessed to.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I was thinking
and,
that it would be kind of difficult to be in front of the castle and still have that. So for it to be offset, that makes a lot of sense as
yeah.
well.
And no, this is just me, but I was like envisioning like, some sort of, flying system being built into the stage.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I
That
figured. I
can
was
come
just
up and come
wondering.
down as needed and all that. But
Right.
no,
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, yeah. My first thought was, well, how are they gonna make him fly? Like, is he gonna be connected to the castle? And I'm like, that's not possible. Like, so yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
yeah. Uh but yeah, just really cool setup, and we all love Jim Cummings as Pooh.
This is his show, basically.
Yeah. uh, uh and I like the way that they still have that projection mapping, they still have those fountains, but it's all a bit less. No, it's all set dressing for the actual show. It's not the actual show.
Exactly. It's not like, oh, here's some fireworks for the sake of fireworks. And I
Yeah,
know that some people feel that about different, Disney spectaculars. Is that, well? There's not a the story isn't as prominent as the effects, and I'm like, with this, all the effects just serve to complement the story, and it
yeah,
works perfect.
yeah. And I will say this did remind me very much of Disney Dreams from the cruises.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
But like I see nothing wrong with that. I don't think that there's any overlap with Disney Dreams other than Peter
It just
Pan.
reminds me of it. Yeah,
Um, and the story is a bit different, and it's just such a well done. It's in that area of we're in the formula, but we're doing something really cool and really different with it.
yeah. Honestly, I sort of, I was kind of at the beginning whenever I saw all of the characters on that the logo. I I was like, well, how are they going to connect all of this stuff? I mean,
Yeah,
like you look at it, you have Winnie the Pooh, Simba, Merlin, Peter Pan, Mulan, Toy Story, and Olaf. It's like, how are you going to connect all that stuff? And then I read the thing, and it was like every single thing. It was like it hit on a different element of
yeah.
growing up, and I was like, this is beautiful. Like, honestly, that's like all I can say
If
about it. Is it's
if
like,
I saw this in person, I would probably be tearing up.
honestly, I don't cry at stuff watching it, but I was tearing up reading the script
Yeah.
because
Oh my
it's like
God, the
you
script.
captured the script blew me away, by the way. But no, the people that wrote this, and I think it was Paragon that wrote the actual script, but you guys
Yeah,
all worked on this story. You captured that essence of what it is to grow up and the fears that you have with growing up. And whenever you're doing something like this, you love Disney, and that's like part of your identity. And to see this as like Disney characters helping you grow up,
yeah,
it's something that I was blown away by. This is honestly, and I've been in two Imagineering competitions, and I mean, I think they've been good so far. But I think that this is honestly the single best project I have seen on any of these forums, because I haven't ever seen a project that like actually evokes an emotional reaction out of me, and this hit everything.
yeah. This, I don't think I put it in the description, but I'll go in and add it if I can. But like every like this hits so well.
It
You know,
does.
you have and everything is so well incorporated. Like this Pooh segment is this is probably my single favorite segment of the entire thing.
It's beautiful. That's all I
It
can say
is.
about it.
It is. It is like it is straight emotional. Like
Yeah, it's crazy that it was like it was enjoyable with the songs and everything, and then it's like, oh, we're just gonna hit you over the head with all this stuff that's gonna make you cry. Like,
yeah, and no, not to go on and on and on about this, but some of the some of the stuff they chose was not obvious. Like, you have stuff like, "Oh, I just can't wait to be king. You got a friend in me." Like, dig a little deeper. Yeah, that's obvious, but forever and ever from the search for Christopher Robin And
Yeah.
something's never changed from Frozen too. Like I would not expect those kind of things in this show, but it fits so well.
It was honestly, I've sort of Paragon. Honestly, yeah, it's a it is
Yeah.
it
Like
like what can you say about this? It's like a criticism. I honestly, I've been like the king of nitpicking this season, and it's like there's nothing,
are there any
absolutely
nits to
nothing
pick?
wrong with this.
Are there any nits to pick?
No, I don't think that there is. It's like I said, honestly, what I said was like I want to find something to nitpick. I like, is it too ambitious? I don't know. The only thing that I could think of that may be a criticism is centering the show around a kid going to school brings more real life elements to it than you would typically expect from a
But
Disney
that's
show.
the
But
point.
that's the point of it. That is the point of it, is that it's it's about growing up. It's about bridging that gap from reality to this fantasy world of Disney, and it just does it so well.
Yeah. And I'm just going to point out we
This
always have a Walt.
perfect,
We always love a Walt
perfect.
quote.
Yes, it was the perfect way to end that.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I
I could see this would have the biggest crowds of any Disney show ever.
I yeah, I could see this being the rise of the resistance of shows.
100%. Honestly, if I was at this park, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm staking out my seat 3 hours ahead of time because I need to see this.
Yeah,
It's just perfect. Honestly, there's nothing else to say. It's perfect. If this was a team competition and so you want to be an Imagineer, it'd be 50s all the way. Honestly.
it probably would. Like I'm gonna be honest, it probably would.
So yeah, just straight up fantastic work to every person that worked on this.
Yeah, that was Dash. That was that
Now I
was
got to
Dash.
look back so we can give them credit for it.
Yeah, yeah, it was Dash because
It
hi Dash.
was, hang on, it was Dash, Peregrine, Brer Panther, Nigel, and Ace was that in between.
Yeah, uh,
Fantastic work.
all of you, just fantastic.
All right, that's the
Nope.
end of the show.
Yeah, that's we don't need to talk about anything else. But
Honestly,
we do.
you're just so good.
Yeah, we started off on a real good note, and let's continue that because this one less so, but I still really like this.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was this one. It took me a little while to get. I'll be completely honest. It took me a while to get it.
Yeah, it took a bit of time to consider it. No, I had to think about, okay, oh, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, it was. I think that this was honestly. I'm not. I don't want to like. I'm not knocking either show, but I will say that like from a purely creative standpoint, this was more creative than the other show. The other show was flawless,
Yes.
but this was by far more creative because of the like out of the box presentation of everything.
You know, I think that Cirque du Soleil circusy format, it's a bit underrated.
It is. I love that format. I was wondering at first. I was like, well, is that really theme park material? Like it works in Disney Springs because it's like it's ticketed, but for this would be another very popular show in my opinion because this is a show that you can get without having to pay the extra money to
Yeah.
go see Cirque du Soleil, which, in my opinion, the storyline of this is really pretty cool compared to the Cirque shows.
Uh, this feels like, I don't know how familiar you are with Cirque du Soleil, but this feels like something from like that golden age of Cirque with like Allegria and Kidam and all that.
Yes, no, absolutely. It definitely it still feels very like experimental, like Cirque du Soleil was during that time. It's like some of the stuff that they were doing. Whenever I was reading this, I was like, okay, I don't know if that would work. And then a couple of paragraphs later, I'd be like, wait a minute, and I'd go back and I'd be like, holy crap, this is amazing.
Yeah. Like I think that this is a show that, by nature is entirely visual.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't work as well written out as it would, actually be in practice.
Right. I had to consider that because it took me a little while to realize, wait a minute, there's no dialogue here. And then I started over and I was like, okay, I get it. It's definitely very out of the box, and I think the way that the visual aspects were conveyed, I don't really think you could convey it any better through words. So I really liked the way that this stuff was described.
Yeah. And I like that original setting in the museum before you go into the theater. I think that a museum is just a cool pre-show space.
Yeah, it's like Hall of Presidents. It's a cool little area that it's teaching you a little bit before you go in.
Yeah. And smart one, that was a cute Epcot reference.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, my thought with it is it's it's not unnecessary, but it's like it's another reference to Epcot that it's going to go over most people's heads, and if they don't understand it, then it's like, well, what does this guy have to do with anything else?
I don't necessarily think that it's that it's in that field that some of the other stuff, some of the other Epcot stuff was. I think
less obscure.
Yeah, a smart one fit this pretty well.
It did. My thing with it was just reinforcing the Epcot callback.
Yeah. Which you know what? I'm at peace with the Epcot.
Yeah, at this point, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Which brings us to another Epcot reference.
Yeah. This I like. Tapestry of Nations, love it or hate it. I love it. So,
yeah, well, I mean, the music carries it. I saw a couple of people whenever they were talking about it. Whenever they were talking about it, they were like, "The music carries it. It definitely carries it." But it
was all about the music. Like,
right.
You could have just had the Sage of Time walking around to that music, and it would still be a god level show.
Pretty much. But yeah, I mean, honestly, my initial thought whenever I was reading it through the first time was, well, I mean, is the puppet really necessary? Like, couldn't you do something else? And then reading further, I was like, okay, I understand the visualization stuff that they're going for. Yeah. Let me start over. The puppet, I'll be completely honest, it's a little creepy, but I think that it fits the show well, and it'd be kind of interesting to see it like flying and stuff as like a character.
Yeah. I think, I like the idea of the puppet. Part of me kind of wishes that this was just, a costumed performer.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would work just as well.
Just in terms of, having an identifiable character to start this off and, to be your guide through this journey.
Right. Well, I mean, my first thought was, wait, so does Eureka have a face? And if so, wouldn't that look like really weird on this puppet?
It would look really weird. I agree with you there. Like,
I just don't know. Or is Eureka like the physical embodiment of some spirit or something like that?
Yeah. Like, and like I said, like, this is such a visual show, and it's such a no, it's such a it's insanely creative. I'll say that much. And
Right. No, I agree.
and I
That's the main
love,
thing.
love, love, no, like one of my problems with Center Core Expo was, it felt a bit dry. And I
Mhm.
love that they added that bit of, fantasy and fantastic element with, having Eureka be the main character.
Right. I agree. I thought that that was using another original character to center the show around. It's a fantastic idea, and
Yeah,
for it to be not even like because the story is not centered around Eureka. It's
no,
like Eureka is the host of this display.
no, she's our guide. We are the main characters in this story, but
Right.
she's just guiding us through it.
Yeah, and let's move on to the story itself. I think that the stuff that was hit on, um, as far as like the advancements and stuff, I thought it was a pretty solid list of different advancements that mankind has made, and I felt like the way that they were represented, I got it. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, like the domestication segment right here, using the warhorse puppets,
I thought that
like,
was so cool.
brilliant. Like, I can just picture that. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can honestly see, those warhorse puppets being like, part of an advertising campaign for Blue Sky Disneyland.
100%. That well, that's another thing about both of these shows is like they create very iconic moments for the park.
Yeah, like, Peter Pan flying, and, like, that would be one of the iconic moments of this park.
Absolutely, and I think that some of these moments, like we're going to get to, I'll the first act started out slow. I will say that about this show.
Yeah, I
But I think that that's intentional because it was slow development, and then whenever you get into the second act, it's like boom, 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 and I thought that was
yeah,
a great decision. That it's like a lot of people aren't going to pick up on that, but it's like
yeah,
the way that you conveyed that message is a great idea too.
yeah, because, not to get into this side of things, but like, technology does not multiply, it increases exponentially.
Right.
So, like, you start out slow, but, the further you get on, like, more and more is happening, to the point where, parts of the second act almost feel like, it's all one big act.
That's what I felt like. It felt like the second act was like less a bunch of little scenes and more one extended act for the most part.
Yeah. And,
I
you
thought this
know,
thing was hilarious.
the triangle wheels, it just
Great idea.
it's, kind of the perfect cool down act,
Right. No, I agree. And especially considering you move right into the Chinese fireworks
which
sequence.
would be like, that would be such a, so cool to see.
Yes. 100%. I thought that was so cool. Like a dance choreographed to
Yeah,
projected fireworks.
and,
Like that,
you
that
know
sounds really cool.
yeah, and, like, the compass being like a ballet, that's, I
That,
can just
yeah,
see
yeah.
how beautiful that would be.
Absolutely. This was sort of where I started feeling like, wow, this is like really experimental because it's like if you tell somebody we have a ballet show in a theme park, are you going to go to it? Like, that on itself, it doesn't necessarily have like the biggest appeal, but it's like whenever you consider it in this aspect where it's like a small scene that's telling part of this story,
Yeah,
it's great and it works perfectly well. I thought that this worked well. I thought the printing press I thought was really cool with the tap dancer.
printing press is another one of my favorite acts here,
Yeah,
because, like, I can just picture how much fun it would be to watch.
Absolutely. That's the thing that I kept coming back to is like it's sort of like with like Chaplin silent films is like
Yeah. Oh
you
yeah.
don't need you don't always need dialogue to convey a fun story. And the way that this story was conveyed, it didn't need any dialogue. It was great.
And like even then, but like we still have that introductory dialogue with Eureka of, here's what's going on. Let's go. Um, and then the glider. Oh my gosh, that was
That was so cool. Honestly, it's like just moment after moment where it's like it keeps improving on itself.
it does a no like I think and then the Industrial Revolution. I think that like that would just be so cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
This line of dancers.
It honestly, it's like the perfect way to cap off that the first act and move on to
Yeah,
the second act. And it's kind of funny because you think about it, and this goes back to that whole evolution of technology. But the Industrial Revolution was like 1800s.
yeah,
There's like so much time between the first scene and the end of that act, and then it's like, oh, we're gonna cram 150 years into Act Two, and that it's fast paced like that for a
yeah.
reason.
And like speaking of Act Two, and it really feels like one big scene the entire time.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought this was such a good
Drums,
way to begin it. Like with the telegraph in this way, I was like, man, this is so cool.
yeah, like and and then you're going into telephone, and I know I keep saying this, but I mean, this Tesla scene, one of my favorites.
It was so. I keep saying it.
I
It's so
love it.
cool. Like
I
I don't know if this show like would appeal to everybody because of like the experimental nature of it without any dialogue or anything. But I'm like, the more I read about it, the more I'm like, man, this is exciting. I would love to watch this.
Yeah, and we always we love some Tesla.
Who doesn't?
Who does not love Nikola Tesla? And then the Wright brothers,
I thought this was a great way to convey it with the
like
silk dancers. It's like
beautiful. It's
they kept pulling out these
beautiful.
crazy ideas that work perfectly with it.
This would be beautiful to see.
It would honestly. I can't get over the innovative ways that they figured out to convey. Dash. Who doesn't love Tesla? Edison. That's good answer. Good answer. No,
True.
but I just it was so innovative the way they were able to convey all of these different things. Whenever you think about it, it's like, well, how would you do a thing about computers and stuff like that? It's like, what? I don't get it. And then they pull out stuff like this. I thought
Yeah,
that
they were
this
genius.
was another awesome moment. It's like show
Yeah,
stopping moment after show stopping moment.
it is, but it doesn't feel like it's overloaded.
Right, exactly. It feels perfectly realistic on the scale of a Cirque du Soleil show.
Yeah, and then the this is another moment that I can just see being so beautiful.
Yes. Yeah. My first thought whenever I read it was like, wait, so this dude is a rocket and he's doing ballet? But then I read it again and I'm like, this would actually be really cool because it's this slowdown. It's
Yeah,
a little bit of a slowdown in between, you're about to get really high paced with the internet.
yeah, and then just this would be so beautiful to watch. Like no, it's that no once they no, especially once they go into the air and uh
Yeah. Yeah. It's just the way that all this stuff is described too.
yeah,
It's like
like,
I can see this.
Yeah, I forget who wrote each part, but like all of y'all did just beautifully.
Yes, absolutely. See, I thought that the internet was another great one. This was this part right here, the near future, was the only part of the show or that I was a little bit hesitant on, just because I feel like it's sort of it's like you're really into this story, and then it sort of feels like it's a little bit disconnected.
Yeah, this is probably the one scene that you could cut
Or just
with,
move it to be, a post-show exhibit.
yeah, or that, and the show itself would lose nothing.
Yeah, that was just the thing. I just sort of I don't know. It feels very weird to go from all these beautiful show-stopping scenes to Smart One talking about it like giving pitches for future technology. I realize it's not. I understand what the intent of it was.
Yeah,
Yeah, I still think it's a good idea because it's still conveying that message. But at the same time, it's like, was it really all that necessary?
yeah. That's my thought exactly. And then, I like that the finale is low key.
Yeah, honestly, it's like it's just it's reminding you of how beautiful this story is and how it doesn't all have to be show-stopping moments, because even the beautiful small moments are show-stopping in their own right.
Yeah, and having those ballet dancers who like I can just see this moment being like another iconic moment for this park.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is what we were talking about at the start of the show. These two projects are two of the best projects I've seen this season. So You Want to Be an Imagineer last season, honestly, and to have them both on the same week, especially with it being an entertainment prompt, I was
Yeah,
just so flipping impressed with the work that everybody did.
yeah. I think if you can't tell, we cannot praise this one enough.
There's you literally run out of things to say about it without becoming repetitive. These shows are fantastic.
They really are, and honestly, I think that this week was just a stellar week for everyone.
It was, because we're going to get into the Veto projects now, and that was an entertainment prompt as well. And we had several good shows. I mean, it was a much tighter race this time around in the Veto prompt.
This
We had
was the tightest race, right?
I think so. I think that every round we've had a runaway winner, except for this one. We had four people within 12 points of each other.
Yeah,
It was tight.
yeah. Not enough can be said about how good this week was.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, I didn't have very high expectations for this week, and it, it literally blew all of my expectations out of the water.
Yeah, and let's get into that because
Oh, okay.
we
I'm sorry. I said that the castle show is my favorite show or favorite project. This kind of takes the cake with it.
in terms of sheer hilarity,
I was laughing so hard.
like at a maximum of maybe 20 people would understand this.
Who cares? This is their
Who
part.
cares? Because
Let them
this
have
is
it.
fucking hilarious.
It was so funny. All the references to stuff. Just how purely fun. Honestly, like nobody would understand it, but it would just be still hilarious. we're gonna have a tough time getting through this. Oh man. First of all, I love that somebody finally realized that the whole point that we host this show is to have a real show about us. So in all future rounds, Outbound gets an automatic 20% boost on his scores.
It was so funny. Like, let's just take a moment to admire the insanity of this picture. The sheer insanity of it.
It's so funny.
And Tiki's tier list.
It was so good. Man, we haven't talked about that in so long.
Oh
man, but it was it's a cult dedicated to resurrecting Winnie the Pooh from cultural obscurity. And then, who doesn't love the premise of this being about two popular Disney characters, a random jester person, and a tiki pole trying to throw some character into a ring of
fire. No, like it's just so funny, and no one, absolutely no one would understand this if this were a real thing.
Right. I mean, the presentation parade, unless you read Outbound's massive, a magnum opus about presentations, you don't get it. But it fits with his character. And then we sing a song called "Not Fond of the Ball Bear" from our first album.
Yeah. Where'd we go? Negative double platinum?
At least. Oh man.
The Yogi Berra.
I want to thank Outbound so much for the idea behind this. Like, what? And the thing that makes it funnier is the first time I read this, I was reading it from the standpoint that it's the four of us doing it. But you think about it, this is literally Goofy in a rap battle with 50 people. Oh man, it's so funny.
And Hulk,
just randomly Hulk won immunity.
Oh, and
oh man, the reference to Sunny Eclipse in Maine with an folklore song. Oh man, it's everything.
The animal folklore song.
It's just so funny. It's so fitting. That is so fitting for Peregrine. And then the wolf butt shows
armed and potentially dangerous. We're not sure.
It's so good. Yeah, I'm not doing a Goofy impression. I'm sorry. No chance. I embarrassed myself enough on this show.
Adam Meatloaf but tiny.
It was the people weren't ready for it. It will be rediscovered in 15 to 20 years.
Oh, we'll have a cultural reappraisal.
Absolutely.
Oh,
and then Kermit talking about cats. Oh my gosh. And then, of course, why am I always tiebreaker? This time around, they just wanted it to be official that I was a tiebreaker. That's why I'm a judge now.
Oh.
This is the best. This is the best paragraph. Talking space mountain with googly eyes and a giant red mask starts singing about.
And then it's talking bicycle.
Oh man,
On a giant plane.
it's so great. It's so great.
Oh, they're trying not to sacrifice Kermit.
I just also I just want to go back. I flipped a coin, but there's 3 options. So who did I save no matter what?
It was a triple-sided coin. I don't know.
If it lands on its side. Oh man. Oh good. And then Tiki making a mid-sacrifice chain.
As he is wont to do.
Yes. Yeah. kind of another good reference there.
And then everything's super.
You had to finish with it.
Yeah, you had to.
I mean, our songs are pretty great, but this is something else. Oh man.
This is wonderful.
So yes, Outbound. This was so creative.
This was
So
hilarious. It would never happen, but it was fucking hilarious.
I was generous giving it a 5 in realism, but this is the best meme project. I think this is better. I don't know if it's a better meme project than Cats because Cats had the anticipation behind it.
Yeah.
But this is so great.
This came out of nowhere, and I am so glad it did.
It was just so random. Oh man, it was great though.
Yeah. So moving on to a more serious piece, Symphony of the Strange. I enjoyed this.
I liked it too. That must be hard to read on your dark background.
It is very.
But see, I didn't know at the time that this was based on something Pi had done before. So
I mean, he admits it right in the intro.
Well, I didn't read the intro.
That's on you.
But I thought this was a creative project. It just felt like there were some more minor things with it, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird, and I appreciate that.
No, I agree. It's definitely weird.
Like
that's weird, but I thought it was cool. I mean, it's weird. It's out there.
Yeah.
So I don't know how well this necessarily fits in Harbor Town. Like I like the background and explanation for some of the stuff in Harbor Town that makes Harbor Town kind of darker.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It sort of felt, it felt unrealistic with how weird it got.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest issue because, like, this song, I can see being like almost creepy in how weird it is.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
Like I can see it being genuinely unnerving for some people.
Yeah, and I mean some of this stuff, like Candleman, and I understand that he's not the one that made this concept. This was concepts from I think it's Willie Crump, right? Right. So I mean, it's a long, it's not his ideas or anything, but I don't know. It's just
this,
it's out there.
It is very out there. But I will say, The Mummy gave me a chuckle.
Oh, The Mummy was funny. I like that idea. I thought that it was kind of interesting because it felt sort of like some of the ideas that that Pi himself had were good, but whenever you mix them with Rolly Crumps, it sort of feels out of place.
I feel like you should have gone one direction or the other. You know what I mean?
think you could have taken inspiration from this and made it
Yeah.
more, made it less weird, like more with the ideas that you had. And like Dash pointed out, if you want to put that up, you know, there is a fine line that you're walking
Yeah. Oh
um,
yeah.
with creepy stuff at Disney parks for sure. And I don't know. I feel like there's a reason that this didn't get made in the first place.
Yeah. No, like it'd be really cool to see how they pull off stuff like Candleman, but
But it's like whenever you have something like that on Harbor Town, on like basically the main street,
yeah.
and it's like you have a mom, or you have parents with, you know, their 5-year-old kid, take them in and, oh, what's this? And then the kid's traumatized because he sees this melting dude on the wall.
Yeah. And like again, the mummy, I wish that there was more like the mummy.
Right, like
That,
that
like, that
balance of
strikes
weird and funny.
strikes that perfect balance of weird and creepy, but still funny.
Right. No, I agree.
It's in that the funny outbalances the weird and creepy of it.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think the Mummy was a good idea.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's I think that that's more where this should have gone
yeah,
directionally. And maybe if he had more time, it would have, you know. But
yeah. I mean, he had 36 hours.
right, exactly.
Um, and the the songstress, was it needed? No, could this have just been like a standard country bear style, weirdness review?
Yeah, I mean the Country Bear Jamboree is definitely weird. But yeah, no, I agree. I think this idea has a lot of potential. It's just
Yeah.
that
No, if it had time, if it had a bit of time to be refined.
I think this would have been a lot better and a lot better received for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it is a people leader, which we appreciate.
Absolutely. I mean that's sort of the one of the points of it.
Yeah. No. So moving on to something that I loved.
This was my favorite project.
This this is up there for me. It's not quite my favorite, but it is definitely up there for me.
Yeah, see, my thought with it is that this project, it is sort of similar to It's Tough to Be a Bug. And that's where I took a point off for creativity, just because it is similar to It's Tough to Be a Bug, but it is really, really distinct from it.
Okay, I'm gonna pause right here because
Oh dear. Oh, oh, yes. This is like my wildest dream come true.
Oh, I love you guys. I love you guys so much. But yeah, back to Rare Panthers project. I really like this. This is it's so charming.
Yeah, I think that with It's Tough to Be a Bug, it's sort of, you know, it's not a very good transition whenever you think about it.
Yeah,
And this like really sells it. And I think the way I think the way that it's described before, like the actual atmosphere of it
yeah,
before and during the show is like on a different level. And I really liked it. I like the idea of having an original character hosting it, and I
yeah,
thought that it was a good choice here.
yeah. And like I can see Irv being, a really, one of those beloved characters, park original characters.
Absolutely.
And then What's bugging you? I appreciate puns.
It's a good pun.
It is.
I really liked the variety
Yeah.
of
You know,
things that you had.
the ladybird polka.
Genius. So out there. So funny.
Yeah.
So good.
I question the realism of this. Of
Well, you know,
it
it still sounds cool.
does. It does sound very cool. You know, if this was something like the swinging teddy bara.
See, I was thinking more, the Spider-Man animatronics.
Okay, yeah.
But Teddy Bar is always great.
Who doesn't love teddy bara?
I don't. I guess only people that skip Country Bear Jamboree.
Um, well, we don't trust those people.
Exactly. Also, you need to put up the most recent comment.
Um,
Ma. That's beautiful.
I
Beautiful.
love you guys. I love you guys so much.
It's just so
Swing
funny. That's brilliant.
This is so good. Yeah, yeah. Overall, this is a really fun, charming project, and Rare Panther is, just like when Brer Panther has a fire under their ass, like a lot of good comes
Show up.
out of it.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
because I felt like this was very creative, very realistic, and it was on that scale that I was expecting for this prompt. Like it's not so out there, but it's not like, oh, it's a little tiny thing to do. Like this is a fun show that I think a
yeah.
lot of people would like.
This, no, it has that Disneyland charm.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. And let me just say,
You can't hear that, can you?
I can.
Oh. My brother's watching a football game and his team just won.
Oh, yeah,
So,
that's what I probably figured.
yeah, I'm upstairs and he's really, really
No,
loud.
no,
So,
I get it, because my family does the same thing.
yeah.
Um, let's just point out that we're still waiting for Tiki to respond and do the Yogi Bear rap with you.
He's afraid. He's not ready.
Oh, I don't think any of us are ready for the Yogi Bear rap. All right, on to this is probably my favorite project of the lot.
This one was really high up there for me. Literally, the only reason that I didn't love it as much as the Ugly Bug Ball, which, by the way, I forgot to mention, but great idea on Brer Panther's part to bring back an idea that he pitched in the last Veto project and really flesh it out. Great idea.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
before we continue,
Oh, so true. So true. But no, so I just feel like this is like over the top, like so over the top.
yeah, but that's why I love it. Like, and again, it's in that no, it's in that Country Bear Jamboree spirit.
Right. No, I agree. The spirit of it I thought was really great. I liked the premise of it and everything. I just feel like for an animatronic show, I don't know. It's like it's so much. It's like a massive scale,
It
which
is. It is a
I
huge.
admire the work that he put in on it because this was so impressively detailed.
Yeah. Doug, I don't know if you're here, but if you are listening, like, no,
Wow.
tell us, did you like actually come up with this on the spot, or have you been like saving this and working on it for a while?
That's a great question.
Because like this is really good.
Yeah, like I said, I thought that the show idea and everything was great. I really liked it. I know that I don't know. It's a little bit. Well, does this fit with the darker theme of Harbor Town? But to be honest, I I'm not super bothered by that because I think
Yeah.
that the story itself is really fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think that, and the backstory of it also, you're in a wrecked ship that has been taken over by sea creatures.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Yeah. And I love me some sea shanties, so that did not that didn't hurt. Um, you know, I just quite enjoyed this aesthetic in general.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was really fun with the with the animal animatronics and stuff. I thought that was really fun.
I can see really cool things being, you know, I can see these being really cool animatronics.
Absolutely. I honestly, it's unbelievable because this project is so well done. It like I said, the only thing for me is it's too well done. It feels like with the size of it, and the Kraken. That was a part where I was like, wow, that's a lot, you know.
Yeah,
But I just on a purely
I don't know,
creative
like
basis.
that's something that like, especially with animatronics, that's a relatively easy effect.
It is. I'm thinking more on the lines of, well, this how large is this ship supposed to be to fit all of these animatronics on it and everything, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, Country Bears, you fit something like 16, 17 animatronics.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't know. I just sort of wish if there had been like an explanation of how they would all
Yeah.
work,
Oh
I would
yeah,
have
I think
really appreciated
that
that.
that was
He spent the majority of his time coming up with this crazy story and all these detailed characters. So I'm okay with it.
yeah, and like these characters, like we talk about Parks original characters. Like I think that this motley crew would just they would go down in history. They would be up there with the cast of the Country Bears and the cast of the Tiki Birds as such icons.
Oh, absolutely. The cast of the characters is great. I
Yeah,
I really like. I really really like it.
yeah, and then keeps going.
And going.
Tipsy McGee. Like I just
Severely
need to admire that
complicated.
name for a second. But yeah, and then you have a massive finale.
Yeah, I find it a little hard to believe this show's 14 minutes long. To be honest,
If you add up the time,
I know that's what's crazy is like the time isn't. It is 14 minutes, but it's like there's so much detail here.
yeah,
Which is like I know that sometimes whenever Tiki, I know Tiki does it. I don't know about other people. Whenever they're like evaluating projects, that, and it's like overly detailed, they'll take off points for it. But I
No,
was like, there's no way you can take off points for being too detailed with this, with how
yeah.
much time this
Well,
must have taken.
yeah. No, and honestly, my one critique here is I wish that, there was a description of, how is the, how is the stage set up? How are the animatronics set up?
Right. No, I agree, because if it's believable, then this is a,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely
Like
top
I can
notch.
envision how this would be set up, but just to have that final, like that's what would make this project perfect.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that that would have definitely, the thing is like, I've said this before, but with Blue Sky, in my opinion, I'm wanting ideas to be blue sky, not necessarily we're gonna do crazy out there stuff like technologically
Yeah.
and
And I don't
spatially and
think
stuff
I
like
don't
that.
think that, anything technologically is too out there,
It's just, it's like with the lack
it's
of
kind of well set
explanation.
up, but like technologically, not really here.
Right. Yeah. But that's why, for instance, I said in my review of the Center Core Expo show that this is blue sky to me, because it's a concept that would never be done by Disney in a theme park because it's so out there, but it works.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of that,
All right. And then, you know, I was no, I had to go through this a couple times
same.
because, like,
It's, yeah,
I mean, so I have a real, I kind of had a hard time talking about this because, like, yeah, it's good and it fits the land, but like, I don't know how well it fits the land.
yeah. I agree. Well, I don't know. I feel like, I mean, if we're being completely honest, this is adding another subland to to Seasons of Fantasy. I don't know. I liked.
It's in that Center Gardens Fantasia
Okay, yeah,
area.
that's true. But you think about some of this stuff, because it's supposed to be like this idyllic type garden. I don't know. It's tough to envision
Yeah,
in a theme park environment.
yeah,
But
spatially,
right, yeah, yeah, because you need that space to be able to sell this tranquil environment.
yeah, and I mean, I like the concept.
I think it's a great concept. I really
I
like.
love the idea of using the Shaman of Songs technologies for more human animatronics.
Right, absolutely. I thought that the characters, the spirits of the seasons,
Yeah,
great idea. I liked the pre-show area with like projecting the different seasons and stuff. I thought that was a cool idea too.
yeah,
There were a lot of really cool elements about it. It just felt, I realized that Paragon may have not had as much time as he wanted to do that
flush
for
this out.
personal reasons and stuff, and I understand that. Um, but I just saw Paragon's comments. He says, "Now the show sucks," but he's talking about.
The project out the comment.
I'm like, man. But I
Oh.
mean, everybody in the comments is like, "Yeah, we're not listening to the podcast."
We're just a helpful background noise for y'all.
Absolutely, that's the whole reason that's what I live for. But yeah, I mean, I thought that like the storyline
Yeah, I
was
think
cool.
it's a cool storyline.
Yeah, and I think the songs make sense and everything.
Yeah, and this reminds me of the Adventurers Club project from So You Want to Be an Imagineer.
Yes, yes, it does.
Although I will say this Winter Spirit nowhere near as fun as the other one.
He's scary.
he is a little scary, huh?
No, I like it. I like the character ideas and everything. And I thought that judging this purely creatively, I was like, wow, this is really creative.
Yeah,
And I think that the songs, like I said, all work really well. I like the idea of like the two spirits that like work in tandem, sing a song together, but they both sing like individual songs, and there's like
yeah,
a song all together. But I wish that there was like a little bit more, like description about the songs themselves, like
yeah,
not necessarily writing them or anything, but like there's a song called Decay and there's another song called Brutally Cold.
yeah.
Like having more information about that
Like,
would have been nice.
yeah. I think no, I'm with you because it's it would have been nice to know what decay is about
Yeah,
beyond what would be kind of obvious.
I've got a bad idea in my mind of what that song's about.
Oh.
Oh yes, yes. Yeah, we have a
uh,
couple of people that work on documentaries, so we can
um,
basically,
taste, Peregrine. You have it.
yeah. Oh, that's great.
But yeah, moving on to our last one, Mickey Nerd with Rust Buckets. I'm gonna be honest. First time I read this
I know what you're about to
as
say.
a
I know what you're about to
Sonic
say.
musical adventure, as in Sonic the Hedgehog.
That's what I thought too. I was like,
Okay, I'm glad I was not the only one.
that's what I thought too. I read it and I'm like, wait a minute.
Wait. Like, and it took me, reading through it to realize, oh,
It's not about a hedgehog.
Sonic as in sound, not
Yeah.
Sonic as in hedgehog.
Which kind of fits the whole. Oh, I think it's funny because it fits the Tomorrowland theme of calling something Sonic, but
Yeah.
I feel like you would trip up some kids that are like, oh, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yes, you would trip up some kids.
Yeah.
And like listen, I really like this cast of characters.
I do too. I like this is my main thought with this is that conceptually it's a really cool idea. I think that
Yeah,
it definitely has a ton of potential, and I think it's a good basic storyline for sure with a good message about having confidence and stuff.
yeah. And the design is really cool.
Yeah, it's like really out there, and it's like I would love to see this in person.
Yeah, like no. And again, the no Rugrat is
Awesome.
an insanely lovable design.
Yeah.
Like I could see plush being made of Rugrat.
With little blades sticking out of his back.
Yes,
Yeah.
little felt blades. Like I could genuinely see that being this park stuffy.
Yeah, for sure. I like that he's called the Lamborghini.
Yeah, and yeah, like overall, I just think this is Mickey Nerd. I don't know if you're here or not. I haven't seen you in the comments at all. But Sonic is the new Yogi.
Okay. You guys are going a little too far. Probably.
Yeah. But I think Mickey Nerd was kind of beating himself up about he didn't think that this was his best project, but this is a really good project.
Yeah, I agree. My thing with it, like I said, is conceptually it's really well done, and you can almost tell reading through it that he felt a little rushed because he thought he had more
Yeah.
time. My only complaint really with this was that it sort of felt like the dialogue was
forced and that's
forced and disconnected, and then that the I don't think whenever I was little, I don't think that my parents. I still remember I was probably over sheltered as a kid, but
yeah,
my mom. I watched Phineas and Ferb, right?
yeah,
And there was an episode where Phineas said the word "dang it" like 3 times in a row, and I couldn't watch Phineas and Ferb for like a month after that. I mean, I was like 6 or something like that. But my
yeah,
thought with it is, um, for saying that something sucks, people saying that they suck themselves. I just, I don't know. It doesn't feel very Disney.
yeah. I think that it's you know even when you have a character who is inconfident, like there's still a drive behind them. There's not something as defeatist as, oh, I suck, I'm never going to be good.
Right. That was my thing with it, was that the storyline itself is extremely relatable and
Yeah,
solid, in my opinion. It's just that there were certain elements of it that kind of pulled me out of it being realistic, because I don't think that it's realistic that there's going to be, there's going to be a show that has a character going to this depth of lacking self confidence.
yeah. I think that it you know and this is something of the inherent flaw of 24-hour, 36-hour projects. You have you don't unless you like go into this like having having a fully formed idea already.
Pie.
Like, you really can't you really can't flesh it out as much as you would normally like to.
I agree. And I think there's also, whenever you think about like doing projects like this,
Yeah,
how often is it where like if you're doing a longer project where you're working on something and you have a little bit of time to think about it and you realize, this maybe doesn't work as well as this, because you have more time to think about it and you have different ideas about stuff.
yeah,
I feel like if there's if there's different, if he had more time to think about it, he would have been able to refine it into something that was a little bit more, I like polished and
yeah.
more realistic. And yeah, I know people in the comments are like, hard R's for it. I'm not saying that there's like anything wrong with saying the word suck. I don't.
This
I don't.
is my favorite.
Yes. But it's just for me, whenever I'm thinking about, yeah, and one named Goofy, I'm not.
He's very protective of his son.
Yeah, yeah, that's what we're going with. No, honestly, I'm just thinking about this from the standpoint of having a small child and taking them to a show where the main characters beat themselves up and saying how much they suck and everything like that. And also, in the project, there is a
Airline, airline.
I'm getting ripped in these comments. No, but there is a place in. I understand that this isn't what the intent was now, but there is a place where it's indicated that one of the robots says a curse word, which I realize it's not like a conventional curse word,
It was meant to be bugger,
but
which
bugger is a curse word in England, which is ironic.
yeah,
But I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I still think that conceptually, this is a fantastic idea, and it's probably a little bit. It's probably bad that this kind of took me out of it this much. But it's sort of like whenever you're thinking about Disney and stuff, you want this immersiveness that
yeah.
isn't. There
I
are jarring elements.
I think that this has such good bones, such solid structure. If this were, if this had maybe, you know, metaphorically had more time in the oven, I
Yeah,
think this would have been infinitely better.
absolutely. I mean, the best projects you think about it are ones that you have a lot of time to think about. Like for example, whenever Outbound Jokers and I did the Red Dead project, we spent twice as much time as they had on this just talking about different ideas and talking about the feasibility
Yeah,
of different things. So it's like the longer you have for it, the
the
more
more the
the
more time
better
you
it's
have
going to
to
be.
make it, the better it's going to be.
Which is why I don't. It's not like he was really that punished for
No,
it because at the end of the day, that's why we took out the presentation aspect of it, because we care more about the idea itself
yeah.
than anything
So,
else.
and no, that's kind of what especially as this competition goes on, like no, we're going to be looking more and more at the ideas rather than the presentation of it all.
Right.
No, we still expect that level of realism, of course, but you know, I know especially once especially once we get into the second half of the competition, like this is going to be blue sky.
Yes. Yeah.
He
I
says, like,
I,
um,
I agree. I think that it's going to be very important to have that refinement of ideas, and I think that I'm really excited to see the blue sky stuff.
yeah, and I think that this could but yeah, I think that as we continue on, we're going to be seeing no, we're no, we want those refined, well baked ideas.
Yes, absolutely.
You're not going to. Don't try.
If you guys did, that'd
If
be
you do, if you do, whoever leads that is winning
automatic. Yeah, yeah.
automatically.
So yeah, yes. We blue sky, blue sky, blue sky. That's the end
So
of the
I
competition.
want I want the sky to be so blue. I think it's night.
Yes, that's pretty much the goal.
But yeah, overall, really great projects here. Really, really good job, everyone. No, please do not try and top Age of Magic. Let it happen if it happens. Um, but like, no, this was definitely probably the best week of the competition so far.
Yes, I'd say without a doubt. It's just this was such a fantastic week, which it you can't. I don't think you can necessarily top it. Definitely don't try to, because I don't think that this was the project where anybody was expecting it to be the best
Yeah,
project of the season.
I was not. I was not expecting this to be the best project of the season.
I agree. And by the way, Dash, that's one of the twists of the show. There's no Frontierland in this park. So, surprise.
Yeah. But you know what this resort does have? If you want to, should we tell them or should we save it?
Tell them the next project, or the next project, I'm okay with, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to get announced anyways.
Yeah. So so the next project is we're gonna we're gonna do something different. We're
Very.
gonna very different.
I'm excited about this project.
Blue Sky Disneyland Hotel.
Ta-da!
Yeah, it's very, very different. But I'm excited to see what y'all will do. Um, but yeah, you heard it here first. Your next project is going to be Blue Sky Disneyland Hotel. Work within your alliances. We will, if you so wish.
Yeah, and that prompt will be like officially posted after
Once we eliminate someone.
Which, speaking of,
Yeah.
it's time to reveal the official scores. So before we do that, I've been getting better at using Excel for stuff. So I did averages of judge scores. So the harshest judge, the harshest judge. Any guesses in the comments about who the harshest judge was out of Space, Mickeyfan, Jokers, Nate, and myself?
I mean, I know, but I saw the scores.
Yes, you do. So actually, I don't think Mickeyfan and Jokers have officially published their scores. So nobody actually knows what's happening. Okay, well, I realized that the comments are like 10 seconds behind us. So I'll just go ahead and say, it wasn't me that was the most harsh. It was Mickeyfan.
Really?
Yeah, you were the harshest. You had an average score of 21 and a third.
Okay.
Which
I think that's because of my score for. That was probably my score for Outbound, so that brought it down.
Yes, it definitely did. Yeah, if you made that a normal score, then we probably would have been pretty much tied for it.
Harshest.
Yeah, so I was the next harshest.
Man, I thought Joker's was going to be the harshest.
Jokers did grade harsh, honestly, but Jokers was right in the middle, 21.9. Mine was 21.7. So then Nate averaged a 22, and Space gave out almost 23 points per project. 22 and 2/3. So just keeping all that in mind, we will now go through. And for the record, I also averaged all of the competitors, and no competitor averaged lower than a 20. So that's good.
Job, everyone.
Yeah, it was great. And, everybody did super well. My last average is the average of all the scores ended up being like a 110 out of 125, which is really, really solid.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, we will now go on to our Veto project results. So finishing in 6th place with 101 out of 125 points. No surprise, sorry, but it's Outbound, and it purely because of realism.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This was a fantastic meme project. We all got a really good laugh out of it.
Yes, 100%. It was hilarious. Great. Yeah. Thank you for making us laugh. So then only 2 points ahead of him in 5th place is Pi with 103 points.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I think that's fair as well.
It's a really good project, but it's really weird. And, it's a reused project.
It definitely is. So then our last 4 people, Brer, Hulk, Peregrine, and Mickey Nerd, were all within 12 points of each other.
Yeah.
So that's pretty impressive. That's pretty tight. So in 4th place with 107 points is Mickey Nerd.
Yeah.
Which, again, very fair, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that these ratings were very, very fair.
Oh yeah. I don't think anyone had. I don't think that there was any highway robbery this round.
I don't either. I thought it was a really not to pat ourselves on the back, but everybody else, I thought it was really well judged, and I think the standings are very reflective of the quality of the work.
Yeah.
So in third place with 112 points is Peregrine.
Yeah.
And yeah, another one. It was a great idea. It's a little bit hard to conceptualize, in my opinion.
Yeah. I cool idea. More time in the oven would have done it good.
Yes, it would have. So now we have.
Keanu.
You're right. We forgot to give the Keanu bonus.
Yeah.
So these last two, Brer Panther and Hulk, were separated by 3.5 points.
Literally.
It was tied before Mickeyfan and Jokers put their scores in. Just so everybody knows. So the winner of this veto competition with 119 out of 125 points is Hulk. Which, you can't say that it isn't well deserved. And this is, I think this is Doug's second veto project win.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. So he's impressive in these, and this is something where it's these projects. If you're not up for elimination, typically they're not actually going to mean a ton. It's just sort of resume building.
Yeah.
And it was a great concept. It was really well executed. So no complaints.
This is Hulk's first. Nope.
He won. He had the Meet the Soundtrack.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's this week's veto project. So that means that, Hulk's not here, so we will message Hulk and make sure we know what he wants to do with his veto, and then ballots will be sent out shortly.
Yes. So with that said, yeah, that brings us to the end. The inmates will cede control of the asylum back to the controllers. And
as you were saying that sentence, I was like, what do you call somebody that's in charge of an asylum?
Yeah, so I've been Tiki. That's been Tiki.
We are Tiki, and this is more Pooh Talk.
This has been more Pooh Talk. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.